Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you today about repatterning, which is really what I consider to be the core of the kind of energy work that I do and the kind that I teach other people to do. And specifically today, we're going to talk about it in the context of energy boundaries, because that really is work that is core to almost everyone that I work with. It's really central because what it really is about, establishing a clear energetic boundary, is a default, an energetic default for walking around in the world. And most of us grow up, we reach adulthood with a default, a way of holding our energy body that is not helpful to us. You might grow up, for example, with poor posture, right? You might develop habits of slumping or of sinking into one hip that cause your body pain or long-term damage over time. And if so, you would have to go to a physical therapist and they would teach you how exercises to strengthen the muscles to correct your default posture or to correct your walking gait so that it's even on both hips to prevent future injury, right? That's a common thing that happens. Energy body repatterning is really the same thing. You are working with your energy body to try to create a new default, different from how you usually hold your energy, to create one that's more healthy and sustainable. And doing that with boundaries is really some of the most common work that I do with people. So let's back up a little bit and just talk about energy work in general. I work with the chakras, and really, in terms of the chakras, it's more common to talk in terms of opening, clearing, unblocking the chakras. And those are certainly helpful ways of thinking and of working. And I work that way as well. But the chakras have different levels. And when we're talking about clearing, we're really usually talking about in that moment, helping to clear the aura or the most surface level energy level as connected to that outer layer of the chakra. So that's like getting an energy bath or an energy shower, but it doesn't last, right? The only way for a shift to last is if you're really working in some of the inner layers of the chakra in terms of repatterning. So, repatterning is really working on the layers of the chakra that are linked to our psyche, that are linked to spirit, you might say. You can think of levels that cross over time, right? When we think psychologically, we think about emotional patterns that we develop. So, depending on the messaging or experiences that you have when you're young, we know that will write certain default patterns into your psyche, right? So, you may internalize the belief that you're unworthy or no good if you receive that messaging growing up. Or the opposite, you may enter adulthood with a foundation of self-confidence, self-faith based on the messaging that you receive. You may receive messages that your worth is based on, being a straight A student or being an excellent athlete. And then when those things aren't available to you later on in life, your sense of worth plunges, right? Because that's what they were based on. And those are held, any sort of patterns that we have, that we come into adulthood with, we hold in our energy body. They're written as neural patterns into our brain in a sense, and they then determine our habitual reactions, our unconscious reactions. And in terms of the intersection between our nervous system, our physical body, and our subtle body, they're also written in energetically. And if you believe in ancestral carrying forward ancestral patterns or in past lives, then there's other streams that are also written into the energy body that then become reflected in our neural patterns, right? As we grow into this body. So there's this interplay in terms of how patterns, how our defaults, our default way of seeing the world, our default state of awareness, our default patterns, our reactions, how we react to things in the world, there's an interplay as to how those develop. And really, the kind of energy work I'm the most interested in is in rewriting those, right? And that's part of personal development. It's part of personal transformation. It may be part of a spiritual awakening journey if that's of value to you. It's really how do we change? How do we use energy work, chakra work to change, right? To truly change. So, when it comes to boundaries, for example, most of us, I would say, grow up, move into adulthood, not necessarily with a great energy posture. To circle back to that physical posture example, we come into adulthood with a few different patterns. One, especially as women, because as you know, I'm especially interested in women's energetics, although, this isn't just exclusively for women. But we may have grown up with conditioning that we're responsible for other people's emotions. So then we feel that there's some unconscious sense that we need to always be aware of other people's emotions. So we're constantly scanning to see how people are feeling. And as we're growing up, although there is a way to sense other people's emotions without absorbing them, we mostly do not. We mostly develop this energy body where we are constantly absorbing other people's emotions, right? We might grow up with patterns around people pleasing, that the only way people will like me or that I can feel safe is if I'm giving people what they want, right? So I need to constantly be scanning to figure out what it is that they want, right? So then again, our whole energy body is oriented around sensing other people, and we end up taking that in and orienting our whole state of being around what they want, right? So then that is again a default energy posture that is about external, not about holding our own energetic integrity. If someone grew up in a home that didn't feel safe from abuse, any kind of abuse or dysfunction, social environment, or a home in which there was mental health issues on the part of a parent or addiction issues, an environment that felt unstable, then often someone will develop patterns of disassociating or hypervigilance, right? These are the psychological terms, but they have an energetic imprint, right? Of either disconnecting from the body, which means then the energetic default is just sort of not protected at all, not present to be protected, right? Everything just gets absorbed. You don't necessarily know it because you're not fully aware of what's going on, right? Or of hypervigilance, constantly scanning for danger, constantly relating to the world as if it's a source of danger, which of course is anxiety producing, creates a state in the physical body of generalized anxiety or constant hypervigilance, but also in the energy body of, again, this energetic default of scanning the environment, trying to feel everything out for danger, right? So there's a lot more examples, but those are all examples of how we might grow up with this basic energetic default of trying to use our energy body to sense other people all the time. And then we end up by default absorbing that. And a huge percentage of our thoughts, our emotions, the ways that we feel, including even in our physical body, might be partially due to the energy of others that we've taken in, right? So working with boundaries, when you think about it in that sense, it's not what's a tool that'll help me like just walk into a store and feel boundaried or feel boundaried when I'm talking to that difficult person at work, right? It's not this kind of tool you use in the moment. That's one use of it. But that's really, okay, that's really the least of it, right? Really what you want to do when you're working with energy boundary work is repattern, correct your posture, right? Build the right chakra muscles, the connection between your intention and your chakras to activate a new default for yourself. And like creating any new default, it requires repetition at first. You have to spend a certain amount of time using the tool, in this case, a chakra tool, over and over and over, and affirming it before it becomes a new default. But it can and it will, right? It will become a new way of holding your energy body. So that's what I mean by repatterning, right? And that work may involve going into some of the old patterns and working with releasing them. There's other chakra and energy work that you can use that I do, right? That and teach to others that is about helping someone work with those underlying patterns of people pleasing or hypervigilance, etc. And then on top of that, there is this repatterning. It's like, okay, then what's the new default, the new way I want to hold myself? And really, I find the best way is to work on both. And this idea of repatterning applies to all of those patterns as well. We might work with creating more of a vibration of safety in the body when we are trying to create a new default besides hypervigilance, right? And for that, we would often work with the root chakra. We might be trying to create a default, a new patterning around receiving help, asking for help, right? Being able to receive positive things from the world that might involve working with receiving into the heart chakra, right? Which you can do even when you're boundaried, right? It's two different levels of energy. So then we might be working with tools around that. We might be working with confidence, cultivating a sense of confidence and energetic integrity, etc., with the navel chakra, right? Or being able to get things done, linear action. All of the chakras, if you're listening to this, you already know this probably, right? Link to different states, different gifts, different skills, whole different ways of being in our system. And so repatterning is partially about learning how to bring some forward in our default and also in the moment, right? So again, you're working on those two levels, how to activate a certain energy you need in the moment, but also maybe in some cases, how to repattern, right? So that to me is what real energy work is. It's where the juice of it is, really learning how to repattern yourself. And I think today, just to finish up this little teaching, let's do second skin, the main boundary tool that I teach, and imagine that it's resetting this new default. So you can get a sense of how that might work. It also is a tool you can use on the spot, and I do all the time. I use it as I go into my client session day, right? Because it's my job to be sensing what other people are saying and the energies and emotions behind that and what's going on in their own energy body, but not to take it in, right? Because I'm working with many people in a day. I need to hold my own energetic integrity. So then I can emanate out whatever it is we're trying to help that person cultivate, right? Which is part of what it means to be an energy worker of this type of work. So second skin is something I'm using all the time, along with a lot of these other tools. Okay, let me show you a picture of second skin just for any of you that aren't already familiar with it. This picture is from Chakra Empowerment for Women, my book. And that's also the core tools that I teach in my various trainings. So in second skin, we're working with activating red light, which is this vibration of protection and vitality within both our root chakra at the tailbone and our navel chakra, just below the navel. And then we are visualizing those two chakras from their inner core are emanating out a new skin, an energy skin about an inch thick that goes all the way around our body, covers every surface on top of our physical skin. And just like our physical skin, it is two things, right? It's a sense, it's a touch organ, right? We feel things with our skin, right? And it's a protection mechanism, right? It is protecting microbes that are damaging to us from getting into our bloodstream, right? We're at risk of infection when we have a cut and our skin is violated, right? So our skin serves that dual purpose of being both a sense organ for touch and a protection. And it's the exact same thing with this second skin, this default energy skin. It allows you to still sense energies around you if that's helpful and useful, but not to take them in. There's no reason to take them in as your own. So that inside, your energetic vibration is your own. You're maintaining your own energetic integrity. And that's really the default energy posture that you want to walk around in the world with, right? Okay. So I'll guide you now just in a brief activation of second skin. Initially, I actually recommend doing it for a bit longer than this. Settle into your body. Just take a moment, a couple of breaths here. And then activate at your tailbone. And you can close your eyes or lower them, whatever helps you feel as if you're going inward. And if it's helpful, you can hold a hand, reach around and press on your tailbone a little bit at the base of your spine. Visualize a red light there. Imagine it's being activated from the inside. Just a couple of breaths there. And another access method, as you visualize and physically touch the spot, is to add in affirmations. So take a moment to just say, I am safe in my body in this moment. I'm grounded and present. Then moving up to activate at the navel, move your hand to just below your physical navel. And inside your body there, visualize a red ball of light, a matching red ball of light, vibrant. And now just to do a couple of navel chakra affirmations. Just say, I am centered and focused. I am in my power. You don't have to do the affirmations with all of the chakras. You can use physical touch, you can use visualization, you can use affirmations to activate. So in this version, I gave you all three. You can pick one or the other when you're doing it quickly. Now just visualize that from your root and your navel, from these red spheres of light there, light is emanating out from the inside to the surface of your body. And gradually, this luminous, strong, protective second skin, about an inch thick of red light, is covering your whole body. Your face and head, neck, shoulders, arms, fingers, upper chest, upper back, middle chest, middle back, belly and pelvic bowl, lower back and sacral area, buttocks, legs, all the way down to your feet and your toes. All sourced from your root and your navel, an infinite supply of this protective light. And this filter allows you to sense what's useful to you and blocks out everything else so that inside you maintain your energetic integrity. Cultivate that feeling. Perhaps do some affirmations along those lines. I'll do some now. I sense only what is helpful to me. I maintain my own energetic integrity. And now the most important one. This is my new default. Good. So to repattern in this case, I recommend people do this second skin daily for 3 to 4 months. This is what habit research tells us about developing any new habit. Do something daily for a period of, say, 8 to 12, some studies say 16 weeks, and it becomes a new habit. So that's what you need to do. And the most helpful thing to do is often to tie it to a daily habit you already have. So when you brush your teeth or you do your morning shower, you do this. And you can do a quicker version of it most days, or a longer version when you have time. And you can reaffirm it throughout your day when you need to. And you can do this with multiple chakra tools if you're working on new repatterning across several different fronts, right? Great. So I hope you have appreciated this talk on repatterning and it's made it a little bit more clear. If you're interested in doing this work for yourself, you can look and see when my next Women's Energetics Intensive is being offered. And if you're interested in doing this kind of work with others, that is a prerequisite for the practitioner's course that I also offer annually. Happy repatterning.